Oh, we're talking about that.
All rise. County Court in time section with Commissioner David Walton.
Mr. Reed, would you open us in prayer and pledge?
Lord, we thank you for today. We thank you for the pretty weather we've had. And we're looking forward to some more rain this week as it replenishes the earth. Thank you for giving us what we need. And we just ask you to help us to always be grateful for it. Lord, we just ask you as we go through this budget season that's upcoming, we just ask you to give us grace with each other and honor one another's opinions. May we know, Lord, that we don't have to see eye to eye, walk arm in arm. And Lord, just help us as a county. May we find the revenues that we so dearly need. And Lord, we just ask you to be with our nation. We thank you for a wonderful nation that is providing us with plenty. And forgive us when we complain about not having enough, because we have more than others in the world. And help us to realize that we have blessings. We ask you, Lord, that you be with us in this meeting. May we do things in accordance with your sight, that we be well pleasing in our conduct with each other. And forgive us as we fail oftentimes to do the things that we need to in order to comply with your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda is the agenda concurrence. Ms. Jones?
I'd like to make a motion that we move Rule 7, which is under reports, and report under reports, to put between approval of minutes and equal public comment.
Motion is to move Rule 7, report number 4, which applies to Rule 7, to just after approval of the minutes. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Brown. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We will move Rule 4 to just after approval of the minutes. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes of April 20th, 26th regular session of the Giles County Legislative Body. I have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Ms. Jones, seconded by Mr. Wilbur. Any additions or corrections? All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. If you would, please open your iPad on the minutes.
Do what?
Please open the minutes. should do.
It's just not on my screen.
There you go.
Thank you.
Got it.
Everybody's just reloading.
Closed out and signed back in about 7 times. I've now restarted it, and I'm gonna try to log back in. Still same message.
Would you like for, yes, for?
Please.
So minutes are approved. So next, we move the report forward to the next thing on our agenda. And report 7, revised public comment rule. It requires a 2/3 majority approval because it is a change of our rules. This addresses the new state law to bring us into compliance. In essence, what this is going to do is we're going to have 2 sections of public comment. The first one will be at the normal time, it will be on agenda items. And the second section of public comment will be after news interviews. And any citizen should be allowed to speak on any issue within the jurisdiction of county government, whether or not it appears on the current meeting agenda. Motion? Motion approved by Jones, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? No discussion, please vote. Yes.
20 ayes and 1 no.
Motion passes. We will implement this today. So the public, the first public comment, which is coming up next, if you would like to speak on an agenda item from today's agenda, please come forward. If you would, please sign in, state your name and which agenda item you'll be speaking on.
My name is Dr. Kathy Roberts, and I would like to speak about the wheel tax today. I understand that it's back on the agenda again, and I'm not sure, I'm hearing about as many comments for it as against it, but I think there's something you can do to give it some traction if you really want it. There are a couple things, actually. I think one thing that you can do is to put a sunset clause on it. Right now, it just goes on in perpetuity unless it's voted out. But I think that it might have a little bit more positive effect if it had a 3-year cap on it. One of the things that would do is allow the commission the new commissions coming in some time to get some alternative tax of balancing what we have. So it would give us a temporary stopgap. The other thing I think needs to be in there is that it needs to be capped. Right now it says $60. The resolution as it stands says $60. It needs to be capped so that it can't go up. And I think a lot of people are really frightened that this thing is just going to escalate and escalate and escalate. And we don't want that. I don't know anybody that wants that to happen. But by the same time, we understand there's a need for a little bit of help balancing this budget. So I would recommend 2 amendments to the resolution. One, to put a sunset clause in for about 3 years, give or take, as you see fit. And the second thing is to introduce that cap of $60. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Please state your name and which agenda item you're speaking on.
Chris Morgan, Will Jones. most of you know me by now. If you don't, my name's Chris Morgan. I am a candidate for 5th District Commissioner. I believe I speak for every person in this room when I say no one taxes whatsoever. Me personally, I don't care if you know. But this is built over the last 150 years, so this is what we have to deal with. So on the wheel tax, have we considered creating a hardship application? There are several counties in Tennessee already doing this, such as Shelby County, Knox County, Robertson County, among a few others. It could be a simple percentage discount, a rebate program, or even a full exemption. It can be structured either around the federal poverty guidelines or even the Tennessee state assistance standards. I understand completely that our county needs to generate revenue to ensure that we can sustain the departments and we have to run efficiently. But as a follower of Christ first, I'm called to care for the poor and the sick. While a hardship program may be more work on your end or my end, or whoever replaces Miss Carroll, I believe it truly represents a fair middle ground. Just to give you some figures, and everybody got the Alice numbers I passed out to all 21 of you. 29% of Giles County, these are 2023 numbers, fall into the Alice category. Because asset limited, income constrained, and employed. This means they're earning more than the federal poverty level, but they're living paycheck to paycheck, just unable to get ahead. Then we have another 15% who fall strictly below the poverty level. These families can't save nickels or dimes. Most of these individuals are also chronically ill, and there is a clear correlation and causation between chronic illnesses and poverty. Anybody who works in emergency services can tell you this. Most of your chronically ill patients are going to be poverty. Most of your poverty patients are going to be chronically ill. Lynn Alberry has been correct. There are people who are only making $900 income on Social Security. They can't afford the $60 wheel tax. It's going to hit them probably the hardest. Will the exemptions or rebates decrease the total amount generated? Yes, it's going to. But will it move the needle in the right direction for the residents in the county to make sure that we're on statute where we need to go? Also, yes. Maybe even consider limiting the number of vehicles for farms and small businesses, so we're not running them out of business. Consider a weight-based wheel tax. The heavier your vehicle, maybe the more you pay. Ultimately, we need more outside-the-box thinking and cooperation and collaborative effort to accomplish all we need done. And I appreciate y'all for your time.
Thank you. Next. You would state your name and sign in and what you'll be speaking on.
Martin Rapp, wheel tax. I'm not going to go back as far as how long. When it was first brought up to me, wheel tax, I went to a budget meeting, and the individual that brought it up, he was going to give us a rebate on our property tax since that went up 16%. It was only going to be $50 per vehicle. Next time it came out, it was $60. At that meeting, people got up and talked, I talked. Antique vehicles became exempt, and trailers that were permanent tagged became exempt. Okay, in that meeting, people voted on that, if I remember correctly. And also, it was 100% disabled veterans and active duty military. This last,
as far as for the resolution, it's missing the veterans that are on active duty. It's not in there at all. There was no talk about the antique vehicles. So, and there's no talk about the trailers. But the resolution says motor vehicle. That means, I looked it up, see, I'm correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But that means a motor vehicle. Does not mean a trailer. That means no travel trailers, fifth wheels, any type of trailer does not have a motor. So your resolution now, I'm taking it, is making that exempt. Is that correct? Anybody want to, you can comment on that later. The other thing that you might want to think about, I know you're trying to balance the budget and all. There's a lot of people that are retired. We don't have new vehicles. We have some old vehicles. At 25 years, it can become an antique. You ever think about maybe 15, 20 years down the road, if your car is younger than that, it gets nailed, maybe just do 2 cars per household instead of every vehicle that's in the household. You're trying to balance the budget, which is great. But you're trying to do it, in my eyes, and I may be wrong when I say this, you're trying to do it all in one shot. You can't pay off your bills in your own household that quick unless you're flipping a big loan. So, just something to think about. You know, you're gonna vote however you're gonna vote in a little bit. Just think of some people that are out here struggling and making paycheck to paycheck, retired or even working. It's just my thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You would state your name, sign in, and let us know which agenda item you're speaking on.
I'm Steve Woods. I can't write and talk at the same time. So I'll go first. And I'm also a candidate for District 5, and I want to speak on the wheel tax as well. I want to get a little scripture first. I always like to do that because, you know, I'm a retired pastor. Isaiah chapter 10, verses 1 and 2. Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who make laws oppressive decrees, deprive the poor of their rights, and withhold justice from the oppressed of my people, making widows their prey, robbing the fatherless. Here, I think is rather unjust to some people, and it's also a tax that causes the commission, if you pass it, to knowingly ignore and worse yet, to countermand the clear will of the people. So, well, I don't know the will of the people. Yeah, you do. This tax has failed numerous times already, and so you know the will of the people. And if you don't know the will of the people, you up on Facebook, they've been running polls to see what the will of the people is. You know, and I know, and failed if you put it to a referendum. And some of you have so much as said so in the committee meetings, and I've been there here. So, you know, I don't know if you ever see a commercial on TV, Kevin Sorbo, the guy that played Hercules, he comes on and he says, you know, the government wants more money, your money. That's what this wheel tax is about. It's getting more money, sometimes for things we ought not be spending it on. Wants that, but the government wants that money. And so you can take it today. You can vote 14 votes today and take the money from the people. But I think that's grossly unfair. And I think it's a good reason, a big reason, why the public in general, about 80% of them anyway, have completely lost trust in this commission. You know, we always have 7 or 8 or 9 that will vote against this thing, and I hope you'll vote against it now. When John Fogerty wrote that song, and you'll remember the song, when you ask how much should we give, the only answer is more, more, more. And I want to tell you something about this wheel tax or any other tax that you want to put in. It's like Roach Motel. The taxing authority is like the Roach Motel. The taxes are like roaches. They go in, but they never come out. One of the speakers here said, Kathy said, well, look, why don't we just have it in there for a little while and then it can come out when we get our feet back on the ground properly and all of that kind of thing. Kathy, I'm sorry, and I love you, but they never come out. They will never come out. I've never seen a tax remitted once it has gone in like that. So the question, I want you to question candidates. I'm talking to the people out here now. Question these candidates. Question them and make them give you specific answers about their views on these high taxes and the spending. Don't just accept platitudes. Don't just let them tell you how they're good old boys and raised in Giles County and they're really nice people, because they're all nice people. But make them give you specific, I don't care if they're running for county executive or commissioner or what they're running for. Make them give you specific answers on how they feel about the taxes and the spending, because they won't do it unless you make them give you answers. You know, we have 2 county executive members here running for county executive here today, Mr. Womble and Mr. Jones. I like both of those fellows. I really do. They're both nice guys. And we'll see how they vote tonight. And everybody will be watching them in particular to see how they vote tonight, because they're running for county executive. And you know, I think they would both do a pretty good job, but we're going to see how they vote tonight. And I think to vote no on that tonight would be a real detriment to their county executive candidacy. So I don't want to see that. I want to have a good fair fight. So I hope, and I believe they will vote no, and I encourage them also, as they are leaders on this commission, I encourage them to encourage others to also vote no at this time on this wheel tax. I don't think we need it. And as I said, I'm a candidate for District 5, so I'll just tell you now, before my time runs out, I would appreciate your vote. And I would appreciate your vote for the other conservative candidates in District 5. That would be Gail Jones, who's sitting right over there on the commission, and also for Tommy Pollard, who's sitting right back there. We would certainly appreciate your votes for the truly conservative commissioners. Thank you very much. God bless.
I'd like to say Knox Vanderpool is in the room as well, running for county executive, and a lot of that was just said is not on the agenda.
Do we have anyone else that would like to address the commission?
Next is the EDC director here to address the committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Give you a quick update on projects. The project flow from the state has slowed down a little bit recently. We did have a couple come through this last month. One was in search of a minimum of 10 acres, but they wanted property that was zoned heavy industrial. It was a chemical manufacturing plant. They wanted to be able to store some of these hazardous chemicals outside, and so we opted not to submit anything on that. The other one was a building search, and so we've talked about that before, about how many of these inquiries we get are actually looking for an existing building. And as a matter of fact, I would mention to you, I know most of you are aware that we had, there was an announcement recently that the Stella Jones coming to Fayetteville, Lincoln County, that will create about 230 jobs. That business is actually going into a spec building that is either just recently completed or is in the process of being completed, that they got the site development grant. So it's just another kind of indication how important it is to have space when people are looking for places. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. I had mentioned to you the last time I was here that we had a company called Keith Consolidated Industries that was looking at a property down in Ardmore. They have continued to kind of work on that project. They've been in touch. They made an application with both TVA and the state, and have received some commitments from both of those for some incentives. They recently submitted, I think just in the last week or so, a letter of intent to purchase a piece of property they were looking at down in Ardmore. So they're kind of waiting to hear back on that offer. They're continuing to try to pull together as much information as they can around if they were to relocate, how much it's going to cost them to pick up and move all their equipment from Oregon to here, so they can kind of complete their financial analysis on whether or not this is a financially good move for them. But all indications are that there's certainly a good chance that this project can move forward, but still some things that have to be put on there to figure that out. At some point, if they do make the decision to move forward, and obviously we wouldn't do anything without coming back and talking to this body about it, but there's a really good chance that if they were going to be able to relocate, if they wanted to relocate, they would probably be requesting some type of tax abatement incentives. I think most of you are familiar with that process. Pilots payment to the taxes. Those don't abate taxes forever, but they do give people some help to kind of defray some expenses early on while they're getting started up. And so we would probably be looking at something in the 5-year most time frame. And generally, the way those work is that we do not abate the school portion of those taxes. So that still gets paid, but then the property tax above that on both real and personal get abated for some period of time, and it usually has some kind of schedule, like some of the common ones that I've seen recently in other counties who've done these. It's generally in the 3 to 5 year range, where we make 0 in year 1, it ramp up to 20, 40, 60, 80, and then 100% after the 5 years. So that will be contingent on the number of jobs they're creating, what those jobs pay, much capital they're investing, and those kinds of things. And so I'll come back and share more details of that if this project in fact does move forward before we would agree to anything there. We do have a couple of folks that are looking at 5 acre tracks still out in the Vanspear South Industrial Park that we recaptured back a few months ago. And don't have any updates on that just yet, except that they are still interested. So there's one party that's actually a local company, a kind of a small business that's looking at relocating. They need a little more space. It wouldn't create a lot of additional jobs, but it would, give some additional property taxes, obviously, by creating another building. And then the other one is someone that's from outside the state that's looking at potentially putting something here that could be a little more sizable investment. So I'll continue to have discussions with those and updates you can learn anything more. On the site development grant, kind of back to the kind I made about spec buildings earlier, I shared with you before that we, you remember we got a $1 million grant from the state. That plus the match was about $1.18 billion in total that we had available. We only spent about half that. So we've gone back to the state and asked them if they would consider letting us spend the remaining portion of those grant funds to do the engineering work on the spec building. And they have agreed to let us do that. And I think that's positive for a couple of reasons. One is, while there's no guarantee, I think it's an indication that they're going to let us do the engineering work, which is something that would have to be done if we went back and asked for money to build a building. The fact that they're agreeing to let us spend the grant money to do that tells me that they certainly are open to giving us a future grant, because we do plan on going back and applying probably in the spring for a grant to actually build a building. So it's an indication to me that they're wanting to invest in this community and they're willing to let us do this. And also, it does get us one step closer. And so the proposal that we've got from Mark Engineering, we have is an estimate of around $330,000 that we have enough grant money left over to do, and it would be a matching portion of that as well, of course. I'll remind you that's a 15% match is what that is. And so if we get that engineering work done, and if we go back in the spring and apply for a grant and we get that, then we basically completed that step that can take weeks or a few months, and we're ready to go straight to bidding the project out, because that building will be spec'd and designed to fit on that lot 5 that we have right now, where we want to build a spec building. So that's a quick update on that. Exit 14. Mr. Stowe and I met with a pilot at a company called Kleinfelder last week. Kleinfelder is their engineering company that's going to be working on the design of this wastewater project that they were put at that exit. Like I shared with you before, that South Giles had voted and said that they were not interested in taking over ownership of the wastewater system. One of the things that came up when we met with Kleinfelder is they said that they have a group inside their company that can actually, on a contract basis, manage those. They can operate them, they can do all the maintenance, they can take all that stuff. And so really, all you're doing is looking for a utility district that would be willing to basically bill the customers and take the money, and then they would pass along those funds and pay for it to be operated, so they don't have to have any expertise themselves. I reached back out to South Giles Utility District for that information and asked if I could come back and talk with them again, just to see if they would reconsider those conditions. And they have a meeting this week that I plan to go to. They meet on Thursday afternoons. So I'll go back in there and have a discussion with them. If not, then we're going to have to look for some alternative to stand up some type of utility district that could basically technically own this long term, even though somebody else on a contract basis might be operating it. So more to come there. On the 3-star grant, you're aware of, we got a $97,500 grant to create an outdoor recreation center. The company Destination by Design out of Boone, North Carolina, is doing that for us. We have a meeting with them on June 2nd for them to kind of share the preliminary plan, and then maybe there'll be some modifications to that. Once we review the preliminary, then I'll certainly be happy to share everything once we get that. And then a couple other things I know people ask me about quite often. Waffle House has been open since April 28th, 7 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. I did hear today that in the next 2 to 4 weeks, they'll be adding another afternoon shift that will run to 9 p.m. So it'll be open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. starting a few weeks from now. And then eventually they do plan to become a 24-hour operation. It just takes them some time to ramp up and get them forward there. And also, many of you are aware that Common John has opened up on North 1st Street. talked to one of the owners several times about that, and they've really been overwhelmed by the presence that they felt in this community, the number of people that supported him. I know that's not everybody's thing, but I would encourage you, even if you're not a beer drinker, it's a great place just to go hang out. They have good food, games you can play and stuff. And so they've been really busy. There are other facilities in Manchester, and LeBron was telling me just a few nights ago that they've actually had a couple of days since they opened that they did more revenue in plastic than they did in Manchester. And so they're really getting a lot of support in the community. So that's kind of a quick update on that. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Who would approve any tax abatement?
The Industrial Development Board would ultimately approve that, but I would not ask them to approve that without coming back to the commission and the city council. Because it's basically, well, in this case, if this is an Arbor, we'd have to work that also with the city of Arbor. So generally those abatements, at least the pilots we have in place right now, they are for both county and city. And so I would come back and ask for this group to sign off that. The Industrial Development Board ultimately approves that. And they're, the IDB has 4 appointees from the county commission and 4 appointees from the city commission.
So no elected official actually gets to approve that.
I guess it depends on how you define approve. I mean, I think the commitment I'm making to you today is if this commission as a group didn't want to approve that, and understanding that it may mean that we get this business or we don't, then that's y'all's problem.
Be clear.
Reese, would you give an update on the Hampton Inn?
Yeah, so the Hampton Inn, I met a couple of weeks ago with the attorney that's working on that, and technically they delayed auction until the 19th of May, but that's just to kind of keep some pressure in the system. But the current plan is that there are 3 hotels that hunt properties, homes that are distressed right now. There's this one, there's one in Fayetteville, and there's one in Denton. And this investment group that's looking at buying them, that wants to buy all 3, and currently plans to buy all 3. The approach they're taking is they're going to buy the one in McMinnville first, and the price they're paying for that will pay off the loan, the debt on that, and also provide some additional capital to get some things corrected on the debt service on this one here and the one in Fayetteville. Also allow them to catch up on their Hilton, the Hampton Inn flight. Right now, if you go to your Hilton app, you can't book this hotel because it's not part of the system. They have not been paying the royalties to Hilton. And so we'll get them caught up on that. And then once all that is caught up, then this investment group plans to come and buy the other 2 hotels, this one here and the one in Fayetteville. And they do plan on maintaining this as a Hampton property. So that may take some time because, again, the first one will be done at the end of this month, and then the other 2 will come sometime after that. Any other questions of me? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reese.
Next order of business is county executive and department head reports. They were included in the package. We have the Giles County Agri Park report, the PMT report, courthouse renovation project, courthouse HDGP report, issue paper understanding property tax rates, and pending portioning report.
So the county executive Stokes sent an email out. He is under the weather, will not be here with us tonight, but he has submitted these reports. Could I have a motion to accept these reports? Motion by Mr. Reeves, second by Mr. Brown. All those in favor of accepting these reports, say aye. Any opposed? Or sorry.
Because I disagree with some that's written here, and not all of them, but some, so I'm gonna say no.
So no, these gentlemen voted no.
I vote no as well on Giles County Agri Park. You're agreeing with partnership that you have no details for. That's wrong.
Y'all like to do a roll call?
Yes.
Reeves.
I have a question. I think the report, excuse me, the report does not commit us. It is a report of activities, is it not?
That's how I understand it, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept these reports.
We'll roll call. Okay, vote for Stafford.
Vote is 15 ayes and 6 no.
Four, so accepted. Are there any other department heads who would like to address this commission? Seeing none, we'll move to election.
And the first, election day is for notaries public at large. We have the following re-elections: Senator Samuel B. Garner Jr., Whitney N. Rose, and Kelly L. Thomas. New notary application, Kayla Monique Streeter.
What are the wishes of the commission? Motion approved by Terry Jones, second by Evan Cook. Any discussion? Please vote. Evidence, yes.
And the vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next order of business is reports, and today's reports are the finance director's report for March 26th, which includes the Giles County General Fund, drug abuse plan, probation fund, highway, school, federal, service, debt service, capital projects, highway capital projects, education capital projects, education capital number 2, and other capital projects. We also have the report on debt applications and the revised public records policy.
Motion to combine.
Motion to combine 1, 2, and 3 and approve as one. By Mr. Hopkins, second by Ms. Rose Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none? Please vote. Now, I would like to vote.
Yes. Roll call is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next order of business is contracts, agreements, and grants. We have government grant contract for fiscal year for the Giles County Good Grant. RJ Young, Giles County Board of Education, and Edgepoint Statement of Work for the Giles County Schools.
What are the wishes of the commission? Motion by Ms. Gillespie to approve. Second by Ms. Moore. Well, are we going to combine and approve? Okay, motion is to combine and approve as one. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
And the vote is 21 ayes.
Motion passes.
The next order of business is amendments, and the first amendment is 26-34, authorizing the amendment of 25-26 budget county general fund 101, county capital projects fund 170.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkins.
Motion to combine all three amendments with vote.
Motion to combine three amendments and passes one, second by Ms. Curry. Any discussion? Ms. Jones?
I'd like to amend his motion and take out the courthouse bond to be voted on separately.
So would you like to take out 34, 35, or 36?
It's on the back of 2634, it's just a part of that. It's on the back of the page 26-34. It's part of 26-34, but I wouldn't vote it separately.
Okay. Matthew, Ms. Matthew, would you like to amend your motion to 35?
I'm amenable to that, that's fine.
We have a motion, and the second was Ms. Curry.
I'm amenable to that.
Would you use microphone?
I'm not amenable to that, not.
Make a second.
Okay, so we'll use Terry Jones as the second. The vote on 35 and 36. Any discussion on 2026-35 and 2026-36? Ms. Gilligan?
I do apologize that I was not available for the highway fund. I've got a question first. What is Gene's fund balance right now? Total.
Would you? Would you have information just run that through?
Does Gene know it?
Real close to 2.3. Okay.
2.3 Gene?
After the
After the-
Gene, the question is that before or after the backup?
That's before the backup.
Okay, and, how many vehicles have you bought since you got elected? Total, do you have an idea?
Would you know the microphone?
The only thing that for the vehicle side, I bought a dump truck and a pickup truck. Yeah.
And were the employees reduced before you got elected or after?
Reduced it. What?
From like the 51 down to 30 something?
No, they were reduced. They weren't reduced after I was elected.
Before.
They reduced from, that 51 number was back when Pete Britt was in when Barry took
Oh,
over. Yes.
I wondered, sorry, I just wondered. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve 35 and 36. Any further discussion? Ms. Jones?
So this is without 171, I mean, the courthouse bond?
Okay, report out 26-34, please. For you.
Well, we didn't vote to do that, but also, Commissioner Butler tells me it's not on the agenda as far as the electronic version. The courthouse bond is not on that, or in the advertised version. I don't know what that does to. We have a paper copy.
It's on the paper copy, it just, the back of that page didn't get scanned to the electronic copy.
Mr. Reedy?
Yes, I need some clarification here. We haven't voted on 34. We're talking about the one that's being postponed. And
We are, I was trying to get 35 and 36 approved, so we can get back to 34.
okay, so we skip.
I actually do have a question on 35. I was just curious if there were any updates on how much money would be made from the equipment sold that's going to help cover the cost of this backup. Are there any updates on that yet?
Yes, we roughly thinking about about what the backhoe's gonna cost. We've got a backhoe that's come back and quoted, it was originally 147,000. We got one that came back, was at 125. We're thinking that our equipment's gonna bring 125,000. That's real cool.
Thank you.
Mr. Bill?
It's perhaps a point of order. I think the motion and second to break out the courthouse from this combined vote. I don't think we voted to break it out or not yet.
So he amended this motion, and by combining 35 and 36, we effectively broke out 34. It's the way I was addressing it. Any more?
Sorry, sir, we never approved the motion to, I apologize. We never approved, or vote approved combining those two, that's all. We have a motion to second, no vote.
Felt like we were discussing that.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other discussion on the motion to approve 35 and 36? Let's, all those in favor of combining 35 and 36, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, is there any more discussion on 35 and 36? Seeing none, give us just a second. We're about to approve 35 and 36, and we then go back to 34. Mr. Reed? Mr. Reed? Yes, sir.
On that back,
We're voting to approve these. We already finished discussion.
all right, go ahead.
So it's 20 ayes and 1 abstain.
Okay, so now we're back to amendment 2026-34. Ms. Jones.
Yes, I think, the courthouse bond should be voted on, we're going to address whether or not it was in the advertised version. The electronic version, does that affect our actions here today if we vote for or against? I mean, maybe our county attorney to address it.
Mr. Williams. Amendment 2026-34. Front page advertised.
Steve,
Ma'am.
on the agenda, it does say capital projects fund 171, but the page to show that was on, like, it's not in my PDF that I got. But it is on the agenda.
If it's on the agenda, it's my understanding. That is made available to the public, and it's a redundancy for convenience. If it's actually paid, it's not the only method that could have been put to the list, but then it should not warrant consideration. That's part of the reason we have multiple formats that we offer these to folks.
Our county attorney is advising us that we can move forward and vote on this evening. Do we have a motion to approve 2026-34? Motion by Mr. Curry, second by Mr. Fedor. Now discussion. Ms. Curry.
Beth, could Beth remind us why we're talking about the bond again? For people who don't understand or weren't at the meetings.
You're not voting on the bond, we already have the bond proceeds in-house. This is just the, to make sure we don't get an audit money, so, sorry. You're not voting on the bond, that we already have the bond proceeds are already in the accounts now, because you've already approved those. All this is the accounting of the bond to keep us from getting an audit finding. So if you don't know, then it would be that, this is not approved, and we'll have a negative audit finding for not properly reported bond. That's all it is. Any other questions?
It's fair to say that this is simply showing receipt of the bond?
That is
Already
correct,
have it
yes,
on.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, let's vote on 2026-34. Just a second.
The vote is 19, no.
Motion passes.
Next order of business is Resolution 2026-37, authorizing the levy of a countywide motor vehicle privilege tax and providing for the disposition of the proceeds therefrom.
Commission. Mr. Ricky, motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Bell, second. Discussion, Mr. Butler.
I would like to amend this. I did this when it came through the first time. For some reason, it did not carry through to this one, but I would like to amend it that any permanent tags, antique or trailer tags, are only charged a one-time fee when they're purchased and charge a yearly renewal of wheel tax.
So you would like to amend this to say that all antique and trailer tags that are one-time tags are only charged one time?
Yes, when they're purchased, any permanent tag is only charged purchase.
And I heard a second. Second, Mr. Fedor, amend that. Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Cocker.
My understanding is that's how it would work anyway, because you're not coming back in and renewing it for like antique tags. You've got one of those. Once you pay, you're done. You're not going in to renew, so you're not paying again. So there's no point in this amendment because you don't pay again. Once you paid one time, you're done on the antique tags. I don't see why we would need the amendment, sorry.
Mr. Butler.
It's my understanding, Carol can probably either verify or tell me that I'm wrong. It's my understanding that the county does have the power to bill antique tags and trailers every year for the wheel tax. And this would prevent that from happening.
If it's a permanent tag, there's no reason for them to come back in. You know,
Okay,
antique tag, we're not sending them a bill notice to renew their antique tag because it is permanent.
Okay, well, we went through this last time and there was the ability to go back and charge an antique tag every year for the wheel tax. So I just want to make sure that that's not the case.
There's not a way If it's a permanent tag, unless well, those permanent tags, the antique tag, you can't transfer it to anything else. Permanent semi-trailer tag, you cannot transfer it to anything else. It's permanent as long as it stays on that vehicle in that person's name. You know, if they sell the vehicle, that tag is dead. They can't use it, they can't transfer it.
Okay, like I said, I wanted to make sure that that was in there because there was discussion last time that the antique vehicle specifically could be billed every year for the wheel tax.
So you do want to keep this in there?
But if there's no need to, then I'll pull it.
I mean, we don't send renewal notices, the state does not send renewal notices on permanent tags.
Okay,
Would you like to withdraw your motion?
yeah, then I will withdraw it.
Okay. Mr. Brother, withdraw his motion. All right, we still have a motion and a second to vote on the resolution itself. So discussion on the resolution. Mr. Giles.
I want to make
Please
sure,
use your microphone.
I'm right on this. If you have a boat or a trailer, is it a one-time thing? You it every year.
Ms. White, would you answer that?
If it's a semi-trailer tag, it's a permanent tag. Now, utility trailers that are less than 20 feet, that are owned for personal use, they are renewable every year. And camper trailer, camper trailers are renewed every year. Most of these, I don't think, charge wheel tax on campers. I don't know. I have to check that. But they are renewed every year. But now, personal trailers, if you own a personal trailer for your own personal use, you don't have to tag it at all. So, that's a personal decision to tag personal trailers.
Don't have to have a personal trailer.
Any further discussion? Mr. Bedore?
Yes, just to address Mr. Rapp, one of his concerns about the active duty exemption. I'm reading in resolution 37, under section 1, part 8, the last sentence. One vehicle exception per 100% disabled veteran, but it goes on to say, and one vehicle exemption per active duty person. So I do believe that the exemption applies to active duty military, but that's one exemption per person, not necessarily all of their vehicles. That's the way I read that. I'd like someone to correct me if I'm reading that wrong. Thank you.
Mr. Savage?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Williams, just to verify. It is my understanding that you are not allowed to put a sunset clause on a wheel tax. Is that correct? Because then whoever is in office at that time would have to actually go through and vote to remove it. You cannot hamstring a future commission's ability to levy or whatever you'd like to call it. Is that correct?
I do not know.
Mr. Reed?
Yes. I, like everybody in here personally, do not want wheel tax, nor do I want more property tax. But as I look back through the history of my career in county commission, I was elected in 02, excuse me. And in that period of time, we did exactly what the drumbeat of the county was. No new taxes, cut spending. We did that. And all of a sudden then, several people in the commission, on up about 3 or 4 years later, began to look at the fact that we had 688-mile total roads in the county, and 271 of them were dirt roads, 39%. So we began to spend hospital money to upgrade the county in lieu of taxes. And if we don't get some extra revenue in then what we're gonna end up doing is back what we did, we're gonna repeat what we did in 2000 to 2005. And we're going to begin to cut costs, and we are going to kind of stop the progress of the counties. We possibly can cut enough cost in order to put the budget balance. And we can, if we do that, we're gonna have to continue to do that. And we, as a county, are gonna be frozen in time. We're gonna be a frozen module if we keep that up. And in 25 years from now, they're gonna say, what was right like back in the early 20s? We're gonna say, go to Giles County. That's what it's like. We're going, roads can't last. I think Gene said if we cut some of the proposed numbers that we're talking about, the roads can't last 20 to 30 years without having to be resurfaced. So, you know, I know one county, and I can't remember what county it was, the budgets were kind of tough. The county road budget was cut, and they took road graders and converted them back to gravel. So, you know, we have made a lot of progress, and we can lose that progress very easily. Also, I have people that talk to me and said, everybody says, I don't want a tax, but if you gotta have one, I don't want another property tax, I want a wheel tax, because everybody in the county gets a benefit from county services, and the property owner always pays for the tax. So that's not fair. So, you know, so there's both sides of this coin. I think we've got to do something. If you're a commissioner that's running for next time, you better hopefully fix the problem before you get here, or it's going to be done in your life. So I encourage you to support this, even though I do not like it, I do not want it, but I have a responsibility that's far beyond myself, my family, my circle of friends. I have a responsibility for the future of the county and to provide services for people that's much needed and to continue its progression toward the next decade.
Mr. Carpenter.
During my last term as commissioner, the Giles County Commission voted and gave local utilities $1 million for a water line expansion. Giles County Commission was not in the water business to be doing that. I say that on the grounds of saying wasteful spending is where we've gotten to, and why we're in the position we're in now.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I want to read out section 10, just so the public will have knowledge of this. We have in print, once implemented, the county's governing body, commissioners, may amend or terminate the wheel tax by resolution and vote of the governing body. So you always hear that, no, we'll send it back to the people. It says right here in section 10, that the governing body may amend by themselves, by vote.
Ms. Jones?
Two things. Section 6 says, any person who fails to display the decal or emblem required by the county commission commits a Class C misdemeanor. What are the consequences of committing a Class C misdemeanor? Does anybody know?
Well, if you get convicted of a misdemeanor, you carry a jail sentence of 11 months, 29 days.
Thank you. And another thing, he said 11 months, 29 days, could be.
That's for Class A.
Oh, Class A, I'm sorry. Class C is what it is.
Like running a stop sign.
Okay. Fine. Is that fine?
Fine.
Okay. Also, section 8 mentions having the dates in section 8, March and April 2026 don't match the last page which says May and June 2026, so perhaps that should be corrected under section 8.
If this passes, the dates will be correct.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Did I miss somebody? Oh, Mr. Zach.
Yes, sir. I don't think it's a secret to anyone that, inflation is very high. It is increasingly difficult for people to make a living. What I would like for us to look at is a way to make it through the next year or two and see, what other revenue sources may be coming about. There are several, resolutions at the state level, which is where we really need to be pushing for more funding, that could be greatly beneficial to our county. One is there's a resolution to allow counties to charge incorporated cities for ambulance service. That may allow us to decrease our expenditure on our ambulance service. Number two, Mr. Stowe was working on the Greenbelt Initiative fund, which would have the state give money back to counties that have a high level of Greenbelt farms to help with the lost revenue from the Greenbelt deduction, because all the cities benefit from us having all of these farms to produce food, cattle, so forth, but we are the ones who take the loss from all of the farms being in the Greenbelt. There was also a resolution this past year that failed, which would increase the return on our sales tax that's collected in our county from the state. It was voted down because they didn't want to lose control of the funds. We may have increase in property and sales tax from Exit 14 development. We also recently learned that we'll have an increase value on the penny. No one wants a new tax, and I understand why those who support it, I understand why they do. But what we as a people really need to focus on is getting increased funds back to the state. Because one thing I've learned is if the government puts a tax in, they're not going to take it back. It never happens. So I just want everyone to understand if this passes today, it's never going away, first of all. So I would just like to request that we keep it tight this year, push our state legislators to get us more money, and try to give the people a break. They already had a large property tax increase last year, and I highly doubt that people want a tax increase. Thank you.
Mr. Reedy, before you speak again, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this? Go ahead, please use the mic.
Okay. I thought that the return from the state was going to be our saving grace, but it did not pass. And there's a couple of reasons that it didn't. One was that the representatives from the metropolitan areas did not support it. Although they like to eat the products that comes out of Greenbelt areas, they weren't in favor of turning some capital back to them. The second was that Governor Lee had already committed to 40,000 vouchers for school vouchers, and about $380 million. So that's $380 million that we were after. So I must say that Clay is going back for it. It's still going to have a hard time making it, but it will help if everybody here gets behind the other representatives that you know of and try to lobby for getting that.
Any further discussion? Ms. Kerr?
Yeah. Could Beth give us a pre-flow of how the budget situation is looking? Like help inform our decision making?
So the budgets or the county general budget is still in review right now at the moment, but I can speak on the highway department, the highway commission did approve their budget, which is use of fund balance. They put their highway, put it back in there. The school, they have approved their budget, and it also asking for maintenance of effort increase because their budget was also short. County General right now, it's in review. I'm hoping that Shayna will diligently find the mistake that I've made. And so far, she has found only minimal, actually, the opposite way. So we're looking for a pretty significant fall, maybe around 600,000 to 700,000 short on the county. So in essence, all of our budgets that have been submitted are at a shortfall. And when I say that, and that is not adding, we only have one position that's been added in the county general. The schools, we've not added anything. Highway, we've not added anything. A lot of it has been for utility increases and just standard operating expenses. So going into this budget is going to be difficult for all of you because it does not look good. As Helen mentioned, it's also in your newsletter. It was very exciting that we did have growth on our penny. Super exciting. I was very much hoping that was going to pull us out of this deficit to be able to get through. We have had to adjust some revenues. I know I may be getting too far, but I do think it's important to know that some of our revenues have decreased. It's like our interest income, we budgeted $1 million, we're going to do only get 800,000 because we have been spending for some of our capital needs. So it's not looking as good as I'd like for it to. So I know let's be prepared for another tough budget cycle.
Any more budget questions for budget director?
What will happen if we're unable to pass through?
You may not have enough revenue to offset, or are you talking about just something?
Just not being able to bring, approve it at all because of the revenue and cost.
Well, I mean, by law, you have to approve a budget of some sort by a certain timeline, or especially for the schools. And also, I want to say it's August 31st now, you have to have a budget approved, so.
Ms. Giles?
Hey, just for the public, can you explain maintenance of effort and how we have to stay there?
Okay, so we're on this wheel tax resolution.
But that makes a difference, because if we have to make maintenance.
Comes to the whole revenue.
To me, I think maintenance of effort makes a really big difference. Because if we say, if things don't pass, whatever, then we still gotta make maintenance of effort, right?
Great question. So the county, the largest one we have to meet is on the school side. The school's maintenance of effort, which is over $1 million that we have to sustain unless there's special provisions of the decrease in enrollment, et cetera. So we have that one. The highway has the 5-year average. I'm not concerned about that because we have the additional increase in revenue last year. And so the 5-year average is going, we're definitely gonna meet that. So I'm not concerned about highway. Then we get into the county side of maintenance of efforts. So first we have the county executive budget. Those can't, they have maintenance of effort that they can't be cut for supplies, materials, et cetera. We also have the sheriff's maintenance of effort on personnel. You guys can't, cut his personnel without him giving authority. Election has the maintenance of effort. You have to fund the election office, same level of funding as the prior election, those election cycles, which we've got that coming up, which is also plus up our county general budget because we've got a major election. We have that. We also have tax assessor has maintenance of effort. You have to have a number of deputies per number of parcels. Let's see, my deputy position is statutory. Of course, all of the clerks also have the agreement that they have, or salary agreements that they have with the county executive. If that's not authorized and signed, they can get a judge to sign it, and therefore it will become standing. Shane, am I forgetting any, or anybody else? Am I forgetting any other maintenance of efforts that we have to provide? Library, but we've actually been doing some research on that, and we don't see that that's statutory. I think that's something to do with the Secretary of State. That is something that we have included in the past. I don't know if it is statute. Anything else?
Mr. Reed?
Thank you, Beth.
Yes,
Please use your microphone.
speak. Yes, we were kind of looking at being 1.8 or $9 million short. Now the penny's coming back in with maybe $600,000-700,000 more. So we're 1.1 million short of what we talked before. That's ballpark, right?
I really don't want to look at it that way because we have, last year when we talked about that, we included at least 500,000 on the ambulance. There is, since then, you all have purchased a remount out of fund balance, so that kind of comes off the table. There's been some restructuring with the ambulance on different things. I don't feel like that's a good assessment to go back to, because of the change. I will say this, the biggest thing that I can recall off the top of my head from last year's budget, so this year's budget, is that we had 450,000 of highway equipment that we budgeted out of 171. We have since moved those funds back into the highway budget, so that's the reason for their use of fund balance out of their budget. Then we have that, we've got patrol cars that are back in the general fund budget, is that's how we're looking at it right now. I think we've cut one patrol car, but we still have that back in the general fund, because 171 has got, projection around $200,000 is all we have available funds that we could utilize. So that's back in the general fund, so that's, we're up to probably 700 there. I'm trying to think what else that we utilize. Those are the two big things. We also had another vehicle that we purchased out of capital projects. Am I missing anything else? But I'm really cool with this from the cup here.
Okay.
But overall, the needs that we were short last year have trickled back in. It's just the only difference that I've really seen is on ambulance, because if you guys purchased some stuff throughout the year and doing some kind of restructuring on some overtime. Anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you. Any further discussion on the resolution? Mr. Gordon?
Thank you. You commissioners know that I have so far voted yes for wheel tax, just given the math. I don't claim to want to impose any tax, much as anybody else, or pay. But I think we, over the last budget cycle, realized the reality with the math. Mr. Reedy reminds us that we were $1.8 million short last year, even without him. Since then, costs have gone up though. So if you credit us with the $734,000 that we are getting with the increase in the penny, I don't think it's as simple as subtracting that from the shortfall, because we know that utilities have gone up. We know that fuel prices have certainly gone up. So, the highway, the school buses, the shortfall will be there. And really the next time we convene, we'll be in this room for the 3-day budget hearing, which I'll remind you are 27th, 28th, and 29th this month, starting at 8 a.m. in this room. But I think what we'll do differently is on the front end, we'll assess the allocation of that penny to these three major funds, highway, school, and county. But we're also going to just ask the tough question, okay, we approve every budget submitted today as is, what property tax increase would be required? Just so we know on the front end at least, what shortfall we're looking at, so we can hopefully be incentivized to scrutinize these budgets even more. I do imagine that we'll be able to make some hard decisions on cuts, but I would just ask the people who have never voted yes on a wheel tax, what cuts do you plan to propose? Because we kind of keep coming back to that same question. Whether it's tonight, whether you don't have an idea tonight, we need an idea by the end of the month, or else we're gonna come out the other end of it, the same old question. How much does the property tax increase that? None of us want that to be the result. We're kicking the can by just saying no tonight without having an idea of what's to be cut. Blanket statements about cut the fat just don't work anymore. So I'd love to hear some ideas.
Mr. Jones? Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning. We need to also remember that next year is reappraisal. So yeah, we're gonna hit them again next year.
Yep.
Let's hit them tonight, and next 27 is the reappraisal.
Can't freeze taxes in the first.
Yes. Yeah, you can't, okay. Sorry. You can't increase taxes in appraisal years. They have to come out
So these people just got their rear 5 years ago, and see what they say.
I'm not what the law says, you don't like it.
The county can't,
So
county can't
what
make
I'm
money.
looking at is that even if we approve this today, it's irrelevant to this year's budget. It doesn't help anything. I mean, it could help, don't get me wrong, but it can't help with the budget process because we can't, even if we pass this today for whatever dollar amount, even if we cut it in half, pass it today, it doesn't matter. We can't budget this in, put this into our budgeting figures because we have to pass it twice, 2 months in a row, and then you have to have a 30-day period, I believe it was, for the public to potentially petition against it. So I understand that. So this is, I understand the need for it, and I understand most of the constituents I've talked to say have preferred the wheel tax to property tax increase. However, we can't get this property tax or this wheel tax increase in this year's budget. We missed the deadline. We all messed up on that. So let's just be clear. This will not help the budget this year. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson. I like going on record saying, when I had my reappraisal, my house, my taxes did go up. The law says the county cannot make the money, no more money except for new bills. Mr. Carter.
When we talked about the wheel tax, implementing it, this is not something that we're gonna get a big lump sum for. Because everybody's wheel tax will not be paid in the same month. To get the full effect of it, it's gonna be a year before you ever even see any real effect of it. So, you know, this little bit per month, it's not gonna help the budget at all.
Have somebody over here. To read it.
The way the cash flow would end up working is that we would have to find some source to make, to balance the budget, which most likely would have to be fund balance. Then if we pass it on the second reading and the community does not see fit to get up a petition for a referendum, then it would start after the budget was passed and made and approved. And that would be in, let's see, in July, 7th of July, if I'm not mistaken. If it goes to referendum, then it has to be held in abeyance until the November election. And then if it passes, then it's out, and we're living off of fund balance money to balance the budget for the rest of that year. And as I recall, we had 3 years that we could live like that, and the state comes in and tells us what we're going to do. But so we use up 1 year, or 3 years that we have. If the wheel tax stays in place, then the cash flow would begin each month and begin to come in. So we would have essentially about 4 or 5 months of revenue coming in off of the wheel tax, roughly speaking. So it was not one, it's not going to be one property tax, it's not on some. It all flows gradually, and the cash flow has to take into account the fluctuation of the cash flow is taken into account in the fund balance, which is why.
For this to pass today, it will take it to the majority of the commission, which is 14 votes. Is there any other discussion before we vote? Mr. Ginger.
Okay, so this is my fourth meeting. And after I was sworn in February, there are 2 things that stopped me. The first one, I'm on, and we were talking about it here this afternoon, evening, that the county had a $1.8 million deficit, and we need to talk about that. The next thing I heard, and it's been on my mind, it says the It's a comment, paraphrase, Mr. Reed. It's a comment Mr. Reed made when he said, I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this board, but I'm gonna be embarrassed, and all of it be embarrassed, pretty much what Mr. Reed said. When I roll off and pass this down to my grandkids, and I don't have any grandkids, but I got a lot of nieces and nephews. I'm pretty sure some of y'all, and I'm sure you felt the same way Mr. Reed felt. So, Quill Tax goes on the ballot, and it's probably going to be turned down. But let's say it passes. Even if it does, that's going to get us just full of law. We're still going to have a problem. Now, once I'm elected in August, along with whoever the other 20 commissioners will be, I don't know who it will be, and the new county executive, hopefully all of us together can work and balance the budget. So, where do you start? I tell you, one, you can't start, do not start by throwing stone at the commissioners sitting on the board today. You can't even start by throwing stone at the one before, the one that's here right now. That will not get done. I think that this is just my personal opinion. I think the first thing we have to do is take a real hard look at our spending. We need to spend only when it's absolutely necessary. I'm not going to get out here and do a whole lot of cutting because where you going to cut? You don't want to cut. But can you control the spending? Probably so. Do we do some unnecessary spending? We probably do. So I think that's the first place to start with our spending. Make sure you really need what you're getting ready to spend. And if you don't need it, don't spend. That's one way to start. And if you do that, the second one that I had in mind, robbing people to pay for, you won't have to. But you've already done start controlling your spending. And then the third thing, and I'll shut up. The third thing, we'll work with Mr. Phil Reese on the progress that they've already made at Exit 14. We gotta get some revenue into the county to offset the taxes. That's just my personal opinion.
Anyone else before we go? Seeing no further discussion, again, it will take a 2/3 majority of this to pass, which is 14 votes. Please vote.
There's 10 ayes and 11 noes.
Motion fails.
Next resolution is 2026-38, by the executive city code as part of the county road system for maintenance by the Giles County Highway Department.
What are the wishes of the commissioner? Mr. Motion approved. Mr. Carter, motion approved, second by Mr. Hopkins. Any discussion? On accepting the city code as part of the Brown County road system? Mr. Jordan?
I have sat in on a highway committee meeting, but I'm not appointed to serve on that. I just have a dumb question, I'm afraid. Every time we add a new road to the county, does that create a duty by the county to keep it paved?
Yeah.
We add roads every month, do we not?
No.
Every other month?
No.
All right.
This will be three last month, one this month.
3 last month?
Mr. Carter, will you come give us the correct answer?
We tried. We brought 3 to the highway committee to be approved. 2 of them did, 1 of them did. Scenic code that you're going to vote on tonight, it went to planning commission and got turned down because all the paper, the paperwork wasn't signed correctly. So it's been done, Billy Brown has done that, and it's been filed with Carol, and it's ready to go. To answer your question on the other, see what a set of specs, and if that road is brought up to specs, if it's on a dirt road, you know, it can be, it's gotta be, it will be a dirt road. If it's on a chip seal road, it's gotta be brought up to that. If it's on a hot mix road, it's gotta be brought up to those specs.
Mr. Young, I mean, I'm not, I don't bring that up to pick on the fact that we approved roads. I think it's great. I'm sure that this is a lovely road. It needs to be a county road. But I'm saying, in the context of, we know we need to pay 70 miles a year. We know with the current budget submitted, we're only going to get 40 miles next year. We also know, first and foremost, we want their roads taken care of. But they also don't want new taxes. It's catch-22, so to speak. Perhaps I'm grandstanding. I guess I'm just pointing out, like, this reminds me every time we vote on a road, what a difficult spot we're in and how we're going backwards.
One other thing, Evan, I just want to tell you, when we pulled these records up today, 2001, we had 922 miles. Today, we've got 913. So what I'm saying is, just like right now, we add roads, but we also have got roads that we close. We've got a couple that's coming down the line right now. And so they've sort of offset. If anything, we went backwards a little bit. I'm just giving you 01s, what we were in 01.
Mr. Jones. Yeah, I'm going to give props to Billy Brown on this right here. I went down to Scenic Cove. Billy has done an amazing job on that road. It looks, Scenic Cove actually looks better than the rest of the scenic area down there. It looks really good. I think, not judging people, I think most of us will be way gone before that Scenic Cove needs anything done to it again. So this is it's a cul-de-sac, actually, is what this part of it. It's not the entire part of it. It's just that one, when you pull off of Highway 11, it's on the right. And Billy's done an amazing job of getting codes and getting it ready. I don't, Gene, don't do anything to it.
No, it's ready. It's
it's accepted.
Right. And the other thing, I think Ms. Gooseby asked me at the highway, he actually hot mixed this road. And he came to me and asked me, you know, the company, the contractor, it was a very few $1,000s difference in the chip seal versus hot mix. And he asked me if he could hot mix it. And I told him, yes, that's fine. And she asked me, would we have to keep it up to that? No, we do not. You know, if the county does it, we chip seal over some hot mix just a year before last, Chester Grove Road, and it works fine. So, you know, like Ms. Gooseby asked, you know, we don't have to continue if the county's not in a position hot mix up in 20 years, you know, they don't have to.
Would you have something else?
Well, I was just gonna say that we talked about, when we bring it in a road, they're brought up to such a level that we don't look at them again.
Right.
Like, I'm with you, Scenic Cove is awesome. And they're not gonna be looked at for 20-some years.
Yes.
So the ones we are bringing in that don't need attention.
Right. And
I was just gonna bring up here, because if we take away, just like we add to it, it's kind of.
Anyone else? Okay, so. Motion is, we're on 2026-38-76, part of the county road system. We have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
And vote 20 ayes and 1 no.
Motion passes.
The next resolution is 2026-39, placing the speed limit at 35 miles per hour on County Road.
Motion approved by Mr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Hopkins. Discussion.
Seeing none. Just a second, we'll vote. Please vote.
And the vote is 21 ayes. The next order of business is unfinished business.
Do we have any unfinished business? Do we have any new business that comes before the commission today? With that,
This ain't really new business, but I will ask Mr. Barney, because I was going to ask him, you said I could. I just want to verify, I ain't got nothing wrong. I didn't know, I don't want to be sure if we give it 125 or we give it 140.
125. Actually, we did, I come to you all with a $147,000 quote, and they chopped around some and came back.
I want to get you back.
Yeah.
Make sure I have everything.
Okay, any other business for the commission? If not, we're now to our second public comment of the night. Does any member of the public would like to comment on anything else? Seeing none, we're to announce. Mr. Gore would like to announce the budget meetings.
Budget hearing coming up in this room. This, for the public's knowledge, they used to be called the whole day budget hearings, because we would just sit in here all day with a big binder, go through every department budget line by line. Those department representatives would have to be here to answer questions and essentially defend it. We've changed the format a little, instead of it being all day, because a lot of people get grumpy after lunch. And sometimes just walk out here. So we're scheduling it from 8 a.m. to 12, 3 back-to-back days. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 27th, 28th, and 29th of this month here in this room.
Any other?
And all the public's welcome.
Mr. Reagan?
Yes, I want to sincerely thank everyone for the condolences and the care that they have shown during the loss of my wife and Cheryl Morreedy. And I think the county commission for the contribution that you gave to the youth program at Second Street Church. And she was a teacher at Harvard. It was part of her DNA. Her whole life was just helping someone get ahead and someone to achieve their full potential that God gave them. That was her life. And I thank you for doing that. You know, she and I have been through several valleys in the last 7.5 years. God's always picked us up out of those valleys. But the amazing part was picking us up out of those valleys. He used the hands of our friends and our family and many of y'all and people that I've ever seen or known. People would come up and say, "Can I help? Let me help you." They didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who they was. And when you live in a county like this, why would anybody want to live anywhere else in the world? So thank you. Right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Tracy Wilbur, second by Bishop.